Hello everybody, it's Drew from Langlois Vital Nutrition Center. Thank you very much for tuning in for this workshop. Hopefully you're catching it right at the beginning of its premiere. What I want to do is give a little introduction to this video before it starts. This video was initially filmed in 2019 in front of a group of about 30 participants. And what we wanted to do with this video now is chop it up into separate parts. So what I'm going to do is tell you what this video contains, and then something you can do at the end of this video if you would like to. So in this video, what you're going to hear me go over are two main things. The first thing is my definition of what muscle testing is, and the second thing is the lock, or a locked muscle. And I find that to be the most important component of accurate muscle testing. Now this video is only going to be about 14 or 15 minutes long, so at the end of it, if you would like to see additional demonstrations, if you would like more information, or to hear more of the questions from the participants, drop a comment, hit subscribe, let us know that you would like more of this, and we'll edit together the next, it's about 30 minutes before the workshop is over, and it would contain 3 more demonstrations. But for now, here is the workshop on muscle testing. What it is, and what is the lock. Thanks for watching. All right, everybody, welcome. This is the second most requested topic for a workshop that we've had in the last 2 years.
What's the first?
Heart health. Heart health is the #1 requested topic. So show of hands, where are my skeptics? Come on, thank you. Goodness.
I tried.
You tried. Now, what's interesting to me is I expected a lot more skeptics in the room, okay? But I see a lot of familiar faces. So I take it that most of you are here just because you want to learn more about muscle testing. Okay. And it might help you. Has anyone been in the room while someone else is being muscle tested by me? There's only a few of you. Okay.
With Jeff.
So that was, yeah, with Jeff, okay. So that might be another reason that you're here, so that you can actually see muscle testing from outside of the situation of muscle testing. Okay. I'm going to go over my goals this morning. We're going to do some demonstrations. The only props I'll need is a few smiling volunteers and these 2 vials. And we'll get into what's in these 2 vials in a little bit. Okay. So let's go to the handout. There is a major problem with muscle testing. This problem stops people from using it to their benefit. This problem stops people from using muscle testing accurately. And this problem is easily fixed. I have very simple goals for the workshop today. I want to give you the science of muscle testing and demonstrate it repeatedly. The more a person sees muscle testing, the more a person experiences it, the more a person can benefit from and understand it. Sound good so far? Mm-hmm. Is anybody at the wrong workshop right now? No? Okay, good. The biggest problem with muscle testing is that it is way too scientific. Who was expecting me to say that? You. Okay, 1 out of 30. Muscle testing is a neuromuscular response elicited through ischemic compression of dermatomes corresponding to various organs and body parts. Thanks for coming out.
Well, now that makes sense.
Yeah, now it makes sense, right? All right, that definition probably does not make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't.
Only people with a medical background even have a chance of understanding that definition because of all the jargon I put in there. Okay. Let's look at some definitions to help make sense out of that sentence. First definition, neuromuscular. It means having to do with your nervous system controlling your muscles. Somebody name the biggest part of your nervous system, the most important part. Brain. Thank you very much. The most important part of your nervous system is your brain. Does anybody disagree that your brain controls your muscles? Very good. Next definition is elicited. That means gained or given. Third definition is ischemic compression. That means pressure causing a reduction of blood flow or blood volume. So if you press on a body part, I'm going to use the neck as an example. If you press hard enough on somebody's neck, where does the blood flow get reduced to?
The brain.
The brain. What happens to them then?
They pass out.
That's right. But you can do, or die, that's right. We're going to go with passing out. You can do ischemic compression, however, on any part of the human body. You can do it on a muscle, a joint, over an organ, not just the neck, and they don't just have to die. And the fourth definition is called dermatome. That's a cross-section of a body. Show of hands if you see a chiropractor. A lot of you. Now keep your hands up for me. I want you to keep your hand up if you only see the chiropractor because of pain that is exactly in the middle of your back. Okay, so only a few of you now. So what else do you see the chiropractor for? People who dropped their hands. Why do you go to a chiropractor? Shout out.
Other pain.
Other pain?
My hip was out of place.
Hip was out of place. Nothing to do with your back, right?
No.
Okay. The shoulder was something was going on there? Okay. Anybody do it because their guts were off? Something was wrong with their digestion?
Yeah.
Someone was getting headaches? So the reason I'm bringing that up is because from your spine outward, if you take a cross-section of that area, so let's say right here, the nervous system in my body that controls this cross-section of my body, if you just sliced me through right here and took a chunk out, the controls for that whole region come from my back. Okay? Because my brain is connected to my spinal cord. My spinal cord branches out, controls the cross-sections of my body. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So a dermatome is one of those cross-sections. We just took a chunk out of Drew right here. That's one dermatome. Okay? Now, does anybody know the story of why I came up with this very fancy definition of muscle testing?
Because no one else did.
Because no one else did that. Because my wife is a nurse practitioner who specializes in blood and bone cancer. So when I go to staff get-togethers or a barbecue with her coworkers, I had to have somebody to describe what I do, because everyone's like, "Oh, Drew, nice to meet you. Jamie says great things about you. What do you do for a living?" And I had to explain this to them. Okay? So the reason I have a definition that is a neuromuscular response elicited through ischemic compression of dermatomes corresponding with various organs and body parts is because I'm standing in a room with a bunch of nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, doctors, surgeons, etc. Okay?
Do they understand that?
They do. One of my favorite responses I ever got to that was the first time I said this definition. I went to the barbecue with this definition in my back pocket. I was just ready. And I said it to a doctor. He's originally from Egypt. He's an oncologist. He specializes in clinical trials of chemotherapy. And I said that definition to him. He's still there listening to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's brilliant. We should have it in every hospital. That's all he said. A much better way to describe muscle testing is to say muscle testing is using the body's own reflexes to determine where there is stress in the body. Y'all go to the doctor and they whack your knee and your leg went up? That's a reflex? You got hundreds of those all over your body, not just in your knees. So what we're using in muscle testing is some of the hundreds of reflexes that naturally occur in your body to get that same kind of response, a change in your nervous system. When the doc whacks your knee, the change in your nervous system is that it fires the muscles to make your leg go straight. Same thing with muscle testing, except it's your arm.
Oh my goodness.
The definition I just gave skips the medical terminology and states how a non-invasive tool can aid in gaining greater health and functioning. Now let's demonstrate. All right, Kathy, this is everybody.
Everybody.
This is Kathy. We're going to do some of the basics of muscle testing, okay? The first basic of muscle testing is you have to find what's called a locked muscle. Please avoid calling it a strong muscle. It has nothing to do with strength. Okay? It is a locked muscle. Let me demonstrate a locked muscle. Give me a straight arm. I'm working this muscle, her shoulder muscles, okay? And if I put some downward pressure on her arm locks into place. It does not fall to her side, and it doesn't do the wobble thing. Okay? So the most important thing in muscle testing is this first step. It's finding a locked muscle. Okay? Her muscle is totally locked into place. Rest your arm for a minute. The reason you find a locked muscle first is because that is the tool that I'm using to assess everything else. So I have to calibrate my tool first. You would not try to drive from Maine to Southern California without at least checking the tire pressure on your cars, right? So we need to calibrate it. We need to make sure that it is functioning properly. And she has that. Very good. Now what you can do is you can take substances that are unknown to the person. Do you know what either of these are? Okay, Okay, she guessed that this is inositol and
And Black Red.
and Spanish black radish. So she guessed at what's in these vials. Okay?
Really, I didn't know. Only from the fact that I take both of them.
No,
Like, I
but you were
didn't
wrong
know
on
that.
both tries. That, I mean, that's not, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but this is great because she has no idea which one of these should have what kind of outcome. Okay? So I'm going to take the first one, the inositol. She had a locked arm. All I'm going to do is hold this against her body. I'm actually going to have her hold it in her other hand. Match my pressure. What happened?
I don't need it, whatever it is.
Match my pressure.
Is that the same amount of downward pressure?
It is. It's actually less. Match my pressure. So she got her lock back. When she held the quote-unquote inositol, she lost her lock. Match. And I feel her trying to do it, and that silly smile on her face tells me she's trying. But whatever is in here, when we introduced it to her nervous system, just from her holding it, it changed the outcome of the muscle testing.
How can I do that if it's in glass?
Well, so I'm going to ask you another question. If I put boiling, scalding hot liquid into a glass container and you hold it in your hand, what's your first instinct?
Let it go.
Right. But it was in glass. Right? So the deal is that even though there's a really small amount of energy in here, less energy than if I filled it with boiling hot liquid, the amount of energy in here can transmute or can pass through the glass and affect her nervous system the way a really hot substance could transmute or its energy could pass through the glass. Does that make sense?
A whole nother class.
We take, there's no hole in the glass. Take something as small as a match head and an unlit match pressed against Kathy's skin, probably no response, right? But if I ignite that match head, even though it's only that big, the energy coming off of that held against her skin is enough to get a response. Does that make sense? So really small substances, really small amounts of things can still have a profound response from the body. Spanish black radish vial.
Because she's taking.
Match. Why didn't your arm go down?
Because I need it.
Match. Good. Her arm's locked. She takes the brown stuff. Her arm remains locked.
So the pressure you're putting on her arm in both instances is the same?
It's approximately the same, but since I'm human, I can't promise
Okay.
that I'm doing exactly the same pressure. And that's why this is so important to look for a locked muscle. Because as you can see, I'm not straining to slam down Kathy's arm. It's not a forceful event, but it's clear that she doesn't have a lock when she holds the white substance, and her arm easily starts to fall down, even though it's clear that she's engaging the muscles. Okay. Good question. Yeah.
What would be an example of an unlocked?
What you're seeing when she holds the white substance, where her arm just starts to slowly go down. That's an unlocked muscle.
I see.